This morning, I introduced Bill C-2, the Strong Borders Act.
I think that the title of the act is for show for the Trump administration.
As we all know, the Liberal Party came in on a strong mandate to stand up to Donald Trump, build more homes, ensure that asylum seekers are afraid to seek asylum, and of course, allow Canada Post to open and read our mail. Yeah, those last two weren't part of the platform, but they are in this new Strong Borders Act from the Government of Canada. In this video, I'm going to break down some of the more insane aspects of what this government is trying to do under the guise of public safety. They are just capitulating to Donald Trump and threatening civil liberties. So this is my breakdown. This bill allows Canada Post to open any mail, allows police to get your IP address without a warrant, allows police to ask digital service providers to hand over your personal data and protects them from being sued, makes it nearly impossible for asylum seekers to have been in Canada for more than a year to have their cases heard, pushing them underground to stay here illegally without help. And there's a great piece breaking this down from Althea Raj on Toronto Star. I also call out here Nate Erskine-Smith, who, in my opinion, is the most sane Liberal MP. And I can't imagine he's okay with this bill. So I hope he's going to be one of the voices speaking out against this. But it's worth noting. Email your MP, call your MP, let them know you are not for this Strong Borders Act. But let me break it down before you make up your mind. So the way that the Liberal Party is positioning this is a way to try and cozy up to the US and repair the relationship that, again, was not ruined by Canada, was ruined by Donald Trump. But Anand Sangri, who is the public safety minister, said Tuesday that Bill C-2 was drafted to contain, quote, elements that will strengthen the relationship between Canada and the U.S. There are a number of items in the bill that have been irritants for the U.S., so we are addressing some of those. But it's not exclusively about the U.S. This was a government that was supposed to stand up to Donald Trump, not capitulate to him and threaten our civil liberties in the process. But I'm sure Donald Trump he saw this and was like, you know what? Canada's taking steps. So I'm going to remove all the tariffs. Except the same day they announced this, Trump signed an order to double the tariffs. How's your strategy working out? Let me get to reaction here. This is NDP MP Jenny Kwan.
I think that the title of the act is for show for the Trump administration. They are trying to create this illusion that Canada's border is more secure in some way. But however, a lot of the components within the bill targets Canada's own immigration policies and processes. That has nothing to do with the United States.
So I think she's bang on. Clearly, the title of the bill, the Strong Borders Act, is an attempt to try and appeal to Donald Trump. And in the process of the actual contents of the bill, you are targeting Canadians and impacting our civil liberties. So I will get to the immigration aspect as well in a bit here. But first, I want to highlight two elements in the Strong Borders Act. And that is the introducing the Supporting Authorized Access to Information Act and the amending of the Canada Post Corporation Act. So you can read the information here. I'll also link to this below the video, so you can go through the summary on Canada.com yourself. But Toronto Star, I think, has a really good breakdown of why this is so alarming. So this piece from Althea Raj, border bill primed to give Mark Carney's government sweeping new powers. Who asked for this? Where she goes on to write, those changes include allowing Canada Post to open any mail, including letters, based on vague criteria, as well as allowing law enforcement agencies to get your IP address without a warrant. But that's not all. Police will be able to ask digital service providers to hand over your personal data voluntarily, and it will protect them from being sued if they do so. Not only does this new legislation lower the bar for information sharing with the US, I don't know how this is protecting Canadians. On particular cases, the bill also gives the Canadian Coast Guard and the Canada Border Service Agency, two outfits that do not currently have civilian oversight bodies, new powers. Reading this myself, I am alarmed, but it's also important to listen to the experts on this, civil liberties experts like Aislinn Jackson, who is also alarmed. So she told the Star on Tuesday it's making sweeping changes that risk undermining privacy protection across the country. And I've also, as of recording this, I looked into the Civil Liberties Association of Canada. They have no reaction to this yet. I've looked at a few other organizations that usually have something to say about this. This is still early on, but I wanted to get out ahead of this and ensure people are aware of this before this starts gaining potential momentum and actually gets passed. But before on that point, clearly the NDP are critics of this. I've not yet seen what the Conservatives are saying. That they appear to still be mulling it over. I would hope, even though this bill reads very conservative, that this could be a Pierre Poilievre bill. I would hope that this may be the one time, one of the few times, where the fact that they oppose everything the Liberals do might actually benefit us as a society, because this would not be something that I would want any other party to support. And of course, Liberals being in the minority need the support of somebody else, be it NDP, the Bloc, Conservatives, to get this through. Now, the other aspect of this is the immigration portion that is very counterintuitive. So the bill would protect, this is from the actual breakdown, the summary, the bill would protect the asylum system against sudden increases in claims. Asylum claims made by people more than 1 year after first arriving in Canada after June 24th, 2020, would not be referred to the IRB, the IRB being the Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada, basically the immigration system. So denying asylum claims for people that were already here and maybe in the process of trying to make their asylum claim. The reason why this is a problem, apart from, I think, it being obvious, but as Toronto Star writes here, a problem that could be fixed by beefing up the immigration system, staffing, and resources, will instead encourage those who are in Canada and fear being deported to their home country to stay here illegally. It will make it much more difficult for federal, provincial, and municipal authorities to know who is living here, where they are, and what services they need. How does forcing immigrants to hide benefit the country? This is very similar to what the US does in their immigration system. Who has it better right now? So why would we want to make our country more like America? This gets to the reaction from NDP MP Jenny Kwan.
Those who's come to Canada, if you're going to seek an asylum claim, if you don't do it within a year under this bill, you will lose your right to make an asylum claim. Now, in talking with a lot of people who's fled persecution, who are here in Canada, it takes them some time to orient their situation, to find representation, and then to make a claim.
People should be alarmed that this is one of the first things the Liberal Party is doing when this is not what people voted for. Worth mentioning as well, the Green Party has come out against this. Green Party essentially being Elizabeth May, writing here, this is a deeply worrying start to the Liberal government's legislative agenda, discussing the risks around civil liberties and refugee rights. And so far, there aren't many petitions on this yet. Migrant Rights Network has one, so I will link to this below the video. I'm sure there are going to be others that are popping up as this continues getting discussed. I also want to give you one last resource here in case you want to read more into this. Michael Geist is an expert in this field and breaks down privacy at risk. Government buries lawful access provisions in new border bill. So he has a really good breakdown of this. He's someone who's followed this, has been critical of both conservatives and liberals, really just depending on what they have put forward, and is principled in his position in doing so. So it's worth the read if you want to get deeper into this. Again, nobody voted for this. Let the Liberal Party know, let your MP know that you do not support the Strong Borders Act.